The Golden State Warriors have been almost completely silent this free agency period, and the rest of the NBA has noticed. According to multiple reports, Golden State is the only franchise in the entire league that has not signed a single player who was on a different team's roster last season. Of the 13 players currently holding standard contracts with the Warriors, 12 were already part of the organization before this offseason began. The only newcomer is Lachlan Olbrich, the team's first-round rookie pick from this year's draft. That is the full extent of Golden State's offseason activity. One rookie and nothing else. Hey, what's up, everyone? Before we jump into everything today, that like button right there is what decides if this video hits hundreds or thousands of people. 1 second is all it takes, but the impact on this channel is massive. Go ahead and hit that like button right now. Seriously, it's the simplest thing you can do. And honestly, the best way to back this content up, because every single like pushes us further. So, hit it now. The front office, led by General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr., has signaled to the fan base that there would not be much movement this summer. The reasoning behind the team's inactivity has been framed as a deliberate strategic choice, a so-called gap year ahead of the 2027 free agent class. The plan, as widely reported, is to preserve draft capital and keep the books clean enough to pursue a max-level free agent next summer. That is the public-facing explanation. But there is a deeper truth buried underneath the surface, one that the current conversation has largely ignored. The Warriors have not just been in gap year mode this summer. They have been operating with gap year logic for the better part of 8 years. The first time that term applied directly to Golden State was during the 2019-20 season. Coming off 5 consecutive NBA Finals appearances, the organization entered that year already knowing it would not be a serious title contender. Klay Thompson was sidelined for the entire season. The team made a significant roster move, dealing Andre Iguodala along with first-round pick to acquire D'Angelo Russell in a sign-and trade that sent Kevin Durant out the door. Fans accepted it. They understood that the front office was waiting for Thompson's return to press the gas again. Then Stephen Curry broke his hand 4 games into the season, and the Warriors became the worst team in the league. That year was the textbook definition of a gap year. The following offseason brought another difficult decision. Thompson suffered another serious injury, and ownership had to choose between rebuilding through patience or going all in without their second-best player. They split the difference. Drafting James Wiseman and adding Kelly Oubre Jr. Curry delivered arguably the finest individual season of his career, but he received almost no support around him. The Warriors missed the playoffs entirely. Then came the 2021-22 championship. Jordan Poole had a breakout third season. Otto Porter Jr. and Gary Payton II, both off-season signings, made significant contributions. Kevin Looney thrived as a full-time starter. Andrew Wiggins made his first All-Star appearance. Even with Thompson returning in January, the Warriors had enough to win it all. They were holding 3 lottery picks on the roster simultaneously: Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody, with nearly all their future draft capital still in-house. They still won the title. It was a one moment where the gap year approach aligned with genuine contention. The 2022-23 season was a quiet return to the waiting game. The Warriors lost Porter and Payton to free agency without replacing them, choosing instead to give extended minutes to their younger players as part of what the organization called a 2-timeline philosophy. The numbers told a brutal story. Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody, and Patrick Baldwin Jr. combined for more than 2,000 minutes that season. Their net ratings were deeply negative across the board, and the team finished 6th in the West. It was gap year behavior wrapped in a competitive schedule. The following season continued the same pattern, though with better individual results from the young core. The real failure that year was inaction at the trade deadline. The Warriors chose not to move Kuminga in a package for Pascal Siakam, reportedly unwilling to trade a young forward for a proven star. They were once again putting the future above the present, leaving Curry without meaningful reinforcements. The Jimmy Butler trade in February 2025 temporarily broke the cycle. From the moment Butler arrived to the following season, the Warriors finally looked like a team serious about competing. They reached the second round of the playoffs, their deepest run in years, and might have gone further had Curry not gotten hurt. But when Butler suffered a major injury in January 2026, the organization faced another crossroads. Rather than trading significant assets for an immediate star, they moved Kuminga for Kristaps Porzingis, protecting their picks and signaling a return to the familiar waiting strategy. They missed the playoffs. Now the Warriors are asking Stephen Curry, entering his age 38 season, to play out another year on a roster that has not been meaningfully upgraded. The front office wants max cap space available for 2027 free agency. The logic is not without merit, but the track record raises serious doubts. Golden State has been waiting for the right moment to build around Curry for nearly a decade now. The window is narrowing with every season, and another gap year may be one too many. The Golden State Warriors have officially parted ways with big man Lachlan Olbrich, the Australian forward who spent the summer competing for a spot on the organization's roster. According to a report from ESPN's Olgan Ulick, Olbrich has agreed to a one-year contract with Alvark Tokyo, a professional club competing in Japan's B-League Premier. The deal reportedly makes Olbrich one of the highest-paid American imports in the Japanese league. He will play under head coach Ryan Richman, who has a strong reputation as one of the most promising young coaches operating outside of the NBA. The move effectively closes the door on any possibility of Olbrich returning to Golden State for training camp or competing for a two-way contract with the franchise. The news is notable because Olbrich had turned heads during Golden State's Summer League campaign, which ended with a championship. At the California Classic, the earlier portion of the summer schedule, he averaged 13.3 points, 5.0 rebounds, and 3.0 assists in fewer than 19 minutes per game coming off the bench. Those are productive numbers for a player logging limited minutes, and they highlighted his ability to handle the ball, make quick decisions in tight spaces, and finish around the rim with a soft touch. He showed enough skill in that stretch for many observers to consider him a legitimate training camp candidate. His numbers dipped during the Las Vegas portion of the Summer League, where he put up 6.4 points, 2.0 rebounds, and 1.2 assists across 5 games. The drop in production was not entirely on him. A minor injury concern forced him to miss a game and a half and clearly limited his effectiveness on both ends of the floor during the remaining contests. Even with the reduced output, his overall showing was considered solid enough that conversations about a potential two-way roster spot were circulating around the organization. Olbrich's NBA story is an unusual one. He was selected 55th overall by the Los Angeles Lakers in last year's draft, making him a second-round pick in the truest sense. The Chicago Bulls quickly acquired his draft rights and signed him to a two-way contract for his rookie season. His time in Chicago was modest statistically. He averaged 2.4 points, 3.0 rebounds, and 1.1 assists in limited appearances, but he had at least one remarkable moment. In the final game of the regular season against the Dallas Mavericks, Olbrich recorded a triple-double, 10 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. That kind of performance from a raw 22-year-old on a two-way deal drew attention from multiple teams around the league, including Golden State. Now that he's chosen to take his career overseas, the Warriors must look elsewhere to fill the third and final two-way contract spot on their roster. Currently, the team has L.J. Cryer and Malavi Leons occupying 2 of the 3 available two-way positions. Cryer brings guard depth and shooting ability, while Leon provides versatility at the forward spot. What the roster is missing is a center who can absorb minutes and provide size off the bench, especially given health concerns surrounding veterans Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford. Both big men have significant injury histories, and relying on them to stay healthy through a full NBA season is a genuine risk. That is where Graham Ike enters the conversation. The young center was a standout performer for the Warriors throughout their summer league run, starting at center and producing at a consistent level across all 9 games. Ike averaged 10.0 points, 7.2 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and a block per game during that stretch. He saved some of his best basketball for the championship game against the Memphis Grizzlies, finishing with 6 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists in a team-first performance that helped Golden State take the summer title. His ability to protect the rim, rebound in traffic, and operate as a connector in a half-court offense made him one of the most discussed names in the Warriors' developmental circle. With Olbrich no longer in the picture, the path to that third two-way slot has opened up considerably for Ike. The Warriors' need at center is real and immediate. Porzingis has dealt with serious health setbacks throughout his NBA career, and Horford is well into the later stages of his. Counting on both of them to provide reliable minutes night after night is wishful thinking. Having a younger, energetic center available on a two-way contract who can step in when needed makes practical sense. The decision is not yet official, but a logic points squarely toward Ike getting an opportunity to compete for the spot at training camp. He earned that chance through consistent high-effort play all summer long, and the Warriors' roster construction needs at the center position only strengthen his case heading into the fall. For a franchise that has struggled to find dependable big men since the dynasty years, Ike represents exactly the kind of low-cost, high-upside developmental bet the organization should be making right now. Speculation about Stephen Curry's future with the Golden State Warriors has been circulating in recent weeks, driven largely by the organization's inability to land the kind of star talent that would make a legitimate title push possible. Names like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jaylen Brown, and LeBron James were all linked to Golden State at various points this offseason. None of those pursuits ended in success. As a result, questions have emerged about whether Curry might eventually grow impatient with the franchise's direction and push for a way out. According to one of the most plugged-in voices covering the league, there is absolutely no basis for those concerns. Brett Siegel, Clutch Points, addressed the trade rumors directly on the latest episode of Clutch Scoops, and he was not subtle about where things stand. Siegel described the idea of Curry requesting a trade as having zero truth to it. He explained that the rumors seem to have appeared from nowhere and bear no connection to what he has been hearing from sources inside the Warriors organization. According to Siegel, Curry has no intention of leaving Golden State. The franchise, for its part, remains fully committed to building its present and future around its longtime superstar guard. The key date to watch in this situation is August 29th. That is when Curry officially becomes eligible to sign a contract extension with the Warriors. Siegel provided specific details about what the framework of that deal would look like. Golden State can offer Curry a 2-year extension worth up to $136.7 million, the maximum available under current NBA collective bargaining rules for a player of his standing. That figure represents a massive financial commitment, but one that both sides appear willing to make according to what Siegel has been told. What makes the situation particularly interesting is the reported approach the Warriors plan to take when presenting the contract. Rather than negotiating back and forth over structure or terms, the front office intends to essentially hand Curry a blank slate and let him decide what he wants. The number, $136.7 million over 2 years, would be the ceiling, but everything else would be up to Curry. He could choose a 1-year deal. He could take the full 2-year max. He could opt for a slight discount if he wanted to create flexibility for the organization. The decision, according to Siegel, will be entirely in Curry's hands. This approach reflects the unique position Curry occupies within the Warriors' organizational structure. He is not simply a star player on a competitive roster. He is a defining figure of the franchise's most successful era, the face of everything the team has accomplished over the past 12-plus years, and the primary reason the Warriors remain relevant in the national conversation, despite struggling to consistently compete at the top of the Western Conference standings. The organization understands that, and the blank contract strategy makes that understanding explicit. Siegel said he expects Curry to agree to a 2-year extension, possibly at a slight discount from the maximum, though he noted it would not be surprising if Curry simply takes the full amount and both parties move on. Either way, Siegel believes the deal gets done this offseason, with September emerging as the most likely window for an announcement. There is, he said, mutual interest on both sides to resolve the extension situation before the new season gets underway. The broader context here matters. Curry will turn 38 years old this season. At that age, players at every other position in the league are typically declining or already retired. Curry has defied those expectations at every turn, continuing to perform at an elite level and remaining one of the most dangerous offensive players in the sport. The Warriors are betting, and Curry apparently agrees, that he still has enough left to be worth a 9-figure commitment. Given everything he has done over the course of his career, it is a bet that is very difficult to argue against. As for the trade rumors themselves, Siegel made the organizational position unmistakably clear. Curry is not going anywhere, He wants to remain a Warrior for the rest of his playing career, and the franchise wants to keep him. The extension, whenever it gets signed, will serve as the formal confirmation of what both sides already know. Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors are not done with each other. Everything else being said or written about his possible departure is noise with no foundation in reality. There's also the legacy dimension to consider. Curry has spent his entire NBA career in Golden State. For championships, 2 MVP awards, and a unanimous election in 2016 that stands as one of the most dominant individual seasons in league history. All of it happened wearing a Warriors uniform. Walking away in the final chapter of his playing days would be out of character for a player who has consistently prioritized loyalty above all else. His commitment to the franchise has never wavered, and by all accounts from those close to the situation, that commitment remains fully intact heading into the 2026-27 season.